Awesome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the slAy podcast. So, if you're excited to have another session with my two wonderful friends, Kevin and Brandon. Today on the agenda, we'll be talking a bit about some of our most interesting experiences recently, such as taking this dance class, and also talking about some of the esports events that's going on this weekend, EVO and VCT Champions Tour. So yeah, let's just before we actually dive into it, I also want to do our slay or nay segment here. I prepared some questions ahead of time. I didn't share it with the other two because I want to get their raw reactions. So I kind of wanted to like spice it up a bit. We're all adults here, right? So I kind of wanted to ask a little bit more of a spicy question. So
Okay.
my question for you both is boobs or butts?
I'm a man of class. Come on. It's obviously ass.
Classic one.
It's always
You said
ass.
ass, right?
Mhm.
Ass.
It's always ass.
Mhm.
Any reason why?
Um, no, it's not that deep. It's
Not that deep.
no. Um, I don't even know. Goodness. That is a
Well, you're gonna get a you're gonna get a nay from me if you don't have a good enough explanation.
I want.
It's like those requirements. It's
What about you, Kevin?
yeah, Kevin. What's your answer?
Whenever someone asks this question and they want an answer seriously, I always say the most like physically attractive part of a girl, or like
Goodness.
things
Here
that.
we go.
Short answer: things that get you aroused. Thighs and having a nice ass means you have nice thighs or legs. So nice ass. Yep, that's my answer.
Nice. That's a slay. See, if you gave her an explanation like that, Brandon, you would have gotten a slay for me. But unfortunately, it is a nay.
What about you, Jillian?
Me? Oh, it's about them boobies though. Look, I can appreciate. It's like how guys have like nice muscles, right? And you look at them and you're like, wow, that guy's ripped. That's like the same thing for girls, where it's like, damn, there's some nice titties.
Yeah.
It's like the same way too, because it's like there is such a thing as too small chest size and such a thing as too big chest size, just like guys' muscles, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
And but for butts, actually, I don't really care if a girl is like no butt or a big butt. Like it doesn't really matter to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the end, appearances don't matter. For
Kevin
sure.
just wants his head to be the watermelon.
The thighs.
God damn.
God.
All right. Another question for you. Would you rather be stuck in a room for a whole year with doing nothing, having no contact with anyone, but you get $1 million, or would you rather get $100 every week, but you'll have to have this feeling like you stubbed your toe the whole time?
First option. Already
Well,
do
all right,
it.
come on,
First
Kevin.
option.
All right, Kevin, we have to think about the time value of money here, right? You're getting $100 a week. What if you invested that money and earned like 80% a year? You know?
But she's saying,
Like,
would you want $1 million doing something you already do?
No, but let me expound that. You're like in an isolated room, basically. There's no entertainment. It's like no windows.
Are we getting fed?
I'm just basing this. I'm basing this off of a picture that I saw a few like months ago. Like it posed the same question. I thought it was like super interesting. I just wanted to hear what you guys thought about that. Because personally, for me, I feel like I would probably just go insane.
Okay, like
Not already.
actually nothing to do. Like we can't do anything.
Yeah, it's just you, your clothes, and a room.
And like every 4 or 5 hours, some entity is feeding us, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
it might not
You
even
get
be an
fed.
entity. It might just be like what
Yeah,
do you call those
it
belts?
just,
Like you go to the
slips
sushi
through.
thing and the sushi's just moving across the belt.
Like the belt. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that might be it.
I mean, I feel like sunlight's a little necessary to live. If the door opens up top and you like the roof opens and you can get some sunlight, then one. But I might go insane. But one anyway. I think you guys are
Still
underestimating how much $1 million is, and sacrificing just 1 year of your life to never work again, that's insane. So
That's true. Yeah. How about you, Brandon? What's your take?
I need some time to do the math on this. I don't know, like $100 a week. It's not that much though. Like
dude, $100 a week?
Yeah, like
No way, man. That's awful.
but,
Okay, how
like,
about 100 a day?
Now we're talking.
700, 2,800, 2,800 times stop. Nope, $1 million.
But I mean,
That's
like,
so funny.
I don't know. Look, you're just doing nothing. You're just living life as is. You can get $100, like Mr. Beast, like walks by your
there's
house
a
every
stub
day.
your toe part.
Oh
Yeah, there's a stub your toe part. It's like you can earn 100 a week, but you'll have to endure feeling like you're stubbing your toe 24/7.
Like constantly?
Nah.
Oh god.
Yes.
Fuck
Yeah.
that.
I'd rather go insane. I'd rather go insane.
Yeah. You're going insane either way, you know?
Yeah, it's just like, what sort of insanity do you want to put up with?
One is actually feeling physical sensations though, so no thanks to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
I
rather
feel
like make up my imaginary friend and have conversations with them and stuff.
Yeah, but think about it this way: it's a year, and you probably wouldn't even have the sense of time because there's like no clocks in the room too. So maybe you're
I've
just
got
like,
imagination.
you've got your fantasies.
There's this one anime I watched where this dude, wait, it's Dr. Stone. He was like stuck, he's like stoned, so he was like stuck for like thousands of years, and he counted every single second. That'd be me.
Oh, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
God damn. That reminds me of like that one Mr. Beast video where he like counts to like 1 million or something in just like one
yeah.
video.
Yeah.
Man, I would probably lose track by like 120.
What was the last number I counted? I don't think anyone was actually keeping track though. They didn't, bro, you skipped 996,243. Like, come on, bro, you got to redo it. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I'll give you both slays for that answers, only because I like how y'all were just trying to like reason with like the different choices, which is like funny. But yeah, last question: if you could meet anybody, either alive or dead, in the entire world, who would you choose?
Oh, what about you, Jillian? You've had time to think this over.
Well, for me, I would love to meet Whitney Houston. I've been like a fan of like her music and stuff, and I recently did a little bit of, you know, looking into her life story, especially because recently she had like a documentary about her, and I watched it, and it just made me feel a lot more endeared to her, only because her personal life was just really turbulent, and like she was struggling a lot with like family issues, relationship issues, and just like, you know, dealing with mental illness and stuff. So really made me give a lot more perspective on like her, and alongside like her music, which is like great. Like I just really respect her a lot. So would love to just like meet her, or, like see her perform if she was still alive. That'd be great.
I would have to say Barbie.
That's okay.
No.
Did you watch the Barbie movie?
Of course, we talked about it. But
Oh,
no.
right.
Jeez, I don't know. There's too many to go for it, but it would have to be Muhammad Ali. I don't.
Okay. You just love boxing, don't you?
Oh yeah, yeah. Boxing is pretty cool. I don't keep up with it much, but like I've read a bit about it and know like some like of the historic matches and stuff. What about you, Kevin?
Cool.
If like I could communicate with them, like language weren't a barrier, and they would willingly talk to me like a normal person, then probably Hitler.
Oh, why? Wow, so scandalous.
It's not because I think he's a good person or anything. I think because he was such a wicked person and he was responsible for so many people's deaths, and to do that, I feel like you have to be some sort of psychopath. I just want to see what that person.
Kevin going with the I can fix her mentality. Like...
No. I just want to talk
literally
to him.
though.
See, like,
if I talk to him,
what was he like? What his childhood and life was like for him to have to, you know, deal with all that stuff. So supposedly he was a really smart person, really good public speaker, and really persuasive. So I just want to talk to him.
I'm sure you can like
must
read
be
books
so
about him or
persuasive
something.
to start a race war.
It's not the same though, obviously. As talking to someone, seeing their motivation, seeing the way they speak about things. Yeah.
Would you be like, we got like 15 minutes in a room with Hitler, and you'd just be like, hey, so why'd you start the war?
Or I just be like, hey, I'm from the future. I don't care if you believe me or not, but here's how it's like in the future. Here's how you're portrayed. So how do you feel about that? How do
He's
you
like, I
justify
failed.
your history? And now, how do you feel about how you're being portrayed in the future?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Huh.
I like that. I wasn't expecting that answer, but I really liked hearing about it.
I'm a little
Because, whoa,
concerned.
you have a lot of bravery to speak with Hitler. But yeah, that's cool. And I like your answer too, Brandon. Like Muhammad Ali is such an iconic person and stuff. So
Oh, yeah.
I don't know much about him myself, like not like his personality or history or anything like that. But would be cool to like meet him if he was still alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on to the main course, I just want to bring up the fact that Kevin and I took a K-pop dance class the other day. First time ever doing anything like this, especially in a group of friends. And I just think that as a K-pop fan, it's sort of like you check it off the bucket list of like, oh, this is what K-pop fans would typically do, taking that sort of K-pop dance class or just like learning a dance on their own. But yeah, I want to like hear from you, Kevin, first. Like, how was your experience going into the dance class? Like, did you have like any expectations? Like, was there anything that you know you enjoyed most about it?
So things that caught me off by surprise. I thought the song would be easy because just from their Instagram videos of previous like past classes, it was like a really large like I assume like it's 40 people or something in that room, right? And there's a bunch of like high schoolers, like even kids who get their parents to bring them there too. So I thought it would be easier, but that song was not easy. So I was surprised it was so difficult. Obviously, I feel like normally I'd be really nervous and like afraid of people judging me or whatever, but everyone's pretty focused on their own dancing, myself included. You have to think about like the choreo and like memorizing the choreo and whatnot, what to do next when you're dancing. So you're not really focused on others around you. Um, I think that it was a really positive and fun experience. I'd want to do it again, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely nice that it's a large room, large class, so you can kind of blend in. If it were a smaller class, I feel like I'd be a lot more anxious and like nervous about people like judging you or whatever. But really, it's not something you should be worrying about because everyone there is trying to improve themselves, right, in dance.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt bad for Sabrina because however nervous or anxious we are, she's like 10 times more of that. So but I think that when she was dancing, she actually like kind of forgot about it a bit little. So that was cool. But yeah, it was a really positive experience. I probably wouldn't do it every week because it's like $25. But
yeah,
it was fun. Definitely, like if there's a week where it's like a K-pop song comes out that we really like, and we're positive that it's going to be that song because they reveal it a day before. So I definitely be down to do it again for sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
I was gonna say I spotted Jillian and Sabrina. Kevin, were you wearing a white shirt and white pants?
No, I was wearing a black shirt and black sweats. I was back left in that video with a bunch of people.
Dang, was there?
I saw the video.
So the guy was in front of you with the white shirt, then probably.
I don't even remember.
Oh, okay.
But I gotta look at the video. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I saw the reel on Instagram, and I was like, oh, I could see Jillian and Sabrina, but could not find Kevin.
Thank God.
I know. I saw myself too.
Dude, let me tell you, Brandon, Jillian was like super vocal. It was like a class of like 40 people in that small room, right? Or not small, but it's pretty small when there's 40 people in there. And whenever like the instructor guy, he was like, hey, anyone have any questions or anyone want to do that again? Jillian had no trouble like speaking up, be like, yeah, let's do that again, or like asking a question. I was like, yeah, Jillian's like, she's not like, I'm not nervous at all.
Get the most out of it.
Like if I could give. Yeah. I mean, I sort of had a bit of an easier time with it only because I used to have dancing experience in high school because I was doing a lot of like school spirit related activities that had like dance parts to it. So this was just I feel like a long time coming for me because I knew of the studio before, but I just never really worked up the courage to like actually attend one of their classes and stuff. But when we actually like got there and we got through the thick of it, like started learning choreography and like practicing the dance moves and stuff, I just found myself just getting super into the zone about it. Like usually like when I'm in those sort of situations, like of course there's some level of self-consciousness that goes into it, like, oh, like how do I like look like in front of everybody, like am I doing the moves correctly? But I think when we walked in there, I was a lot more focused on just like, hey, like I'm having a lot of fun learning this dance, like super cool. It's like super, lively, and it's for a group that I like I haven't danced for in a while, so this is like really great. So I just found myself just really being invested in like just the entire activity. Like I didn't even think about like how I looked, to other people, which I thought was really surprising to me because I'm usually like a lot more self-conscious about that. So I just really enjoyed the fact that I was able to really let go, surprisingly, and just really focus on just enjoying the activity as it is. So um, overall, really positive experience for me, and like would love to do it again sometime.
So can we get a demonstration?
But, yeah. No, you're just gonna have to watch. You're just gonna have to watch the reel, dude.
The reel? Come on, this could be a reel. Could be another reel.
Maybe if we put up a dance video on our socials, then we all have to do it. It's just a compilation. It's like with those like choreography cover videos, but instead of like all of us together, we just like we just put all of our webcams together in like one row, and just hopefully we're in sync.
Yeah. Well, thankfully I have two wonderful teachers ready to show me the ropes, right?
No, I'm just gonna send you a choreography video.
Oh, dang.
I'm like, here, just learn through this. They know better to explain it than me.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But yeah, I know you didn't take a dance class with us, Brandon, but I'm curious, would you be open to doing something like that?
Yeah.
Like, say if an opportunity came up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
if
always
you did,
the
like,
dance
is there
floor,
any like group?
So, any group? No, I'll just do whatever. I wouldn't be picky.
Just whatever.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So.
Interesting. So you wouldn't mind doing something that would require like a lot of hip rolls and floor work and stuff, right? Like say like a Mama Moo song. Wanna dance to hip by Mama Moo?
I'll get into it. I might not be flexible enough to do very much, but I'll sure as hell try.
Oh, that's another thing too. Like before the dance choreography lesson actually started, we all had to do a bunch of like stretches and stuff. And oh my god, were those stretches more difficult than the actual choreography?
Brandon, let me say I should have been skipping my lunges.
That's okay, dude.
I know.
Yesterday I was at a wedding and they had a limbo for doing a gift card, and oh my goodness, I should have stretched before that. My like back and my legs and everything, just limbo's hard.
You win the gift card though?
No, I didn't win, dude. His little brother was like some professional at limbo or something, dude. He made it look so easy.
Okay, but limbo is just favors the shorter people because they don't have as much trunk to have to manage and stuff.
He was as tall as I am, but he was just built different. I don't know, and he got to like I think 30 inches from the ground. Like it was the height.
Wow.
Yeah.
When we were doing our stretches in the dance class, I was stretching next to like I'm pretty sure she's like a high school girl, but I was like, these kids are built different, man. I'm old.
Yeah. Yeah, we may not be that old, but it starts to catch up fast, dude. It's ridiculous.
I know. Yeah, can I also say too, like what I thought was like super entertaining was just the fact that the choreographer would like split us all into different groups and stuff, and then those individual groups would come up to the front to dance the choreography all in one piece, and then one of their like employees is like recording the whole thing for like Instagram. And it's just so funny to me seeing some of the people in the group, not because they did bad, they did excellent, so much so that I was like, damn, they performing like their whole life dependent on it, man. Like there's this one dude actually two dudes who were in Kevin and Sabrina's group, and I swear to god they were like feeling it or something. I saw Yuna right there in front of me with the way they were moving. I was like, damn, these guys are seasoned pros. So I just love how passionate people were. The entire energy in the whole class was just super great. And I think everyone's just like super supportive of each other. Like when we would switch like rows so that people in the back could see the instructor better, the girls who would pass by me, they would be like, oh, good job. Like, keep it up. I'm like, aw. Everyone's so sweet.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this.
For sure.
But yeah. So dance is like a really, it's a fun hobby. And I kind of wanted to bring up the topic of hobbies as well. Do y'all have any like hobbies that you like either you've been working on or maybe you wanted to pick up in the near future, and sort of diving deeper into that? So first, I want to talk to you, Brandon. Like, are there any hobbies that you're really interested in? Investing more time in?
Right now, Formula One and like karting and like racing. Right now, is I'm spending a lot of time on the weekends watching. It's mostly Formula One, like the Well, there's a lot of different racing series, but that's like the premier. Like, I'm pretty sure the biggest one besides like outside of like NASCAR in the U.S. So I spend a lot of time learning about that, but it's a lot of stuff that just goes way over my head because it's all like aerodynamics, like physics, like electrical. And I don't know anything about any of that stuff, so there's like a ton to learn, and I'm just slowly learning like bit by bit. But it's made me want to go karting, and I've actually looked. There's a few like karting places around. They don't go very fast. I think like they only go like 25, 30 miles an hour, but it still seems really fun. I want to pick it up and just like take a couple buddies and go around the track a few times.
Yeah, what made you like really get into F1 stuff?
Honestly, I don't really know. I just started watching it one week, and it's like, so with most of the races are in like Europe and over in the east. So like a lot of the races are early in the morning. So on a Sunday morning, you don't feel like doing anything anyways, right? So you just kind of like throw the race on, and if you don't like have your full attention focused on it, you can still kind of keep up because not they're racing, but it's not like there's action all the time. There's kind of just lulls, and then there's moments where there's just a lot of like overtakes and stuff. But so you can kind of just throw it on a Sunday morning and chill and drink your coffee. It makes it really nice, and then it's cool to learn about like the such small differences, how they can make like a tenth of a second is like huge, but it sounds so small, right? But in Formula One, that's like that can be like the difference between getting first and getting 10th. So it's just all the small, minute things actually matter, and it's cool to learn about the differences between like each car and each team.
Yeah, I think F1 is surprising because I'm not really into it, obviously, but when I went on the Reddit front page, there would always be like a really popular post at the top, about F1. And then suddenly I just see like a lot of people in the Bay Area here, it's a lot of tech companies, a lot of tech workers, just like a varied around, like variety of people like talking about F1, like not just guys, but girls. I'm just like, what the hell? How did you guys get into F1? Like, what's going on?
It's becoming a lot more popular here, and they actually added a new track in Vegas this year. It's the first year they're going to have their track there. So they're like gaining an American audience now, so it's pretty neat.
It's an exciting time to be an F1 fan.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Did you know that I don't know if Gran Turismo is related to that, but it's having a movie adaptation very soon. I don't know if you're interested in watching that, Brandon.
Oh, I'll probably end up watching it.
You see the trailer?
I haven't seen the trailer, but I'll probably end up watching it. The racing games are fun. I wouldn't mind getting a setup, but those are kind of expensive to get too. Because they have like actual like where you have like the clutch, and you can have like a steering wheel controller and have a gas pedal brake and all that. But that's a lot of space and money. So
yeah, F1 is real. I'm not really a fan of it myself. Frankly, I don't know much about it aside from the fact that people are in cars and just racing on the track. But it's just like it makes me wonder, like, I don't even know how people find themselves, becoming that, becoming a race car driver, and just thinking about handling a vehicle at that speed and doing all those like turns and stuff just sounds super out of this world, quite frankly. Like, I can't even imagine it.
It's scary to think about going 180 miles an hour and having to worry about like a dude right next to you, and like you have to like balance your brakes and like worry about your car not overheating. As I couldn't do it, but if you watch, there's like videos of them, like they have such insane reaction times, like other pro athletes can't even like match them at all. They're like
not even pro gamers.
Yeah, true. The Scara has nothing on
I
them.
think for me, I will stay in my lane of Mario Kart and hope for the best. I would much rather throw bananas at my fellow racers rather than worry about colliding.
Dang, bananas. That means you're up in front a lot, though. You're killing it in the Mario Kart world.
You know it, man. You know they call me Princess Peach Drift. You know, Toadette Drift. You know.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thanks for sharing, Brandon. How about you, Kevin? Is there any like hobbies that you found yourself getting more invested in recently?
No, why? Because I'm at that point in my life where it's like, like you have coworkers or like older adults who they work their 9 to 5, 8 hour job, and then they
Mm-hmm.
somehow have the energy to like go to the gym, or they go to the gym before work at like 5 a.m. or whatever, and then after work they'll still go out with their significant other or like their kids or whatever, and it's just like, how the fuck are you doing this? Like after work, I feel like doing absolutely nothing. I'm walking from my laptop, my work laptop, to my computer. Or lying in bed after work. I'm not fucking going out.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's going on here? And so I really am not doing much. Although
Mm-hmm.
I would like to start doing stuff again. I think that dance class really like sparked something in me because when I was still in university, I was like volunteering at like, I don't know if you heard of Sacred Heart, Jillian.
Yeah, I know Sacred
Yeah, it's
Heart.
like a community service thing, Brennan, here in SJ. But I was doing that the last weekend of every month. So I wanted to do that again, but it's kind of hard to find energy when you have so much or so little free time now after work.
Yeah.
So we'll see how I feel in the next few weeks. But right now I'm learning a lot and I'm really tired after work. So I don't foresee myself doing stuff for maybe like another month or so. But maybe after 3 months, when I really get things down, I'll start doing other stuff again on the weekends or after work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally get that too. Like trying to find the energy to even learn something new on top of a new job is like something just super stressful. So really, it's good that you're taking that time to just get adjusted first before putting too much on your plate. But yeah, I think too, like the dance class really did you know inspire me as well. This could be like a fun like pastime that we do from time to time. Like I just love how it's like also physical activities, so you're getting a nice workout into it as well. So yeah, we'll see how the rest of the year goes.
Whoa, what was that?
Oh.
I hit my mic. My bad.
Okay.
I thought it was the gong, like the
Yeah.
like, you have like just a random gong. Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, my biggest hobbies right now is D&D. I'm a huge fan of D&D now after playing for like 2 years. I've gotten more into it just from watching like really popular like D&D groups like Critical Role and Dimension 20. And yeah, it just hits like a, what would you call it, an itch of mine where it's just like I love learning about people's different like fantasy worlds, and like seeing how they role play is like always super fun because it's usually really improv. So it's interesting to see sort of how they react to whatever the DM's campaign is all set up for. And I just find it really inspiring, and am actually trying to develop my own campaign right now for our slay group, which is super fun. I've never DM'd before, but it's something that I've been interested in doing, and I've already had some ideas of worlds in my mind before that I'm like taking as inspiration for this. So I'm really excited to share it with everyone once it's completed and when we actually get to play. But yeah, I want to move on to our next question here. So, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, it really is the weekend of esports right now with both EVO and also VCT Champions Tour. And so, I wanted to actually talk about EVO really quickly because I think this year has been super, super fun just because, Street Fighter 6 is new and it's also really, really big. I think EVO had like record registrations for Street Fighter this year, which is like, wow, that's mind boggling. And also, Riot Games has recently announced Project L, their new fighting game, and it looks so good. It's beautiful, and the characters' combos look so fun. So I just wanted to talk about EVO really quickly, just, hear your thoughts about it, if you guys are like following it along, and like maybe any games or any matches that really like blew you out of your mind or something. You can start with you, Kevin.
What do you have to say about Project L looking good, Kevin?
So actually, Jillian,
Feet.
Yeah, Julia, before you joined, or was it earlier? I guess I was talking to Brandon about EVO and how I've been like following Street Fighter, and I saw Arslan Ash won Tekken again, classic. But
Yeah.
Project, yeah, I don't think Project L looks very good, or maybe it's because from my standpoint, I've always ever played or only ever played like Tech or Street Fighter Tekken. You know, like those games where there's only one character on your team, and it's playing
Yeah.
against another character, and it's not very visually cluttered because you just see the health bar. Any viewer can distinguish what's going on. There's two people fighting and there's two health bars. When that health bar is depleted, that person lost, right? It's very easy. But when there's like a Project L game or an Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom game where there's like multiple people on a team and they can tag in and tag out, it just gets really confusing, right? It's just too much shit going on. So I don't really like Project L in that sense, but I haven't played it, so maybe it feels very good to play. Who knows? I have to play it myself to figure that out. But yes, I have been following EVO, mainly Street Fighter. I don't really care for the other games too much. I think the Street Fighter 6 top 6 is happening right now or soon. So excited for that. It's obviously the last event of EVO because it's the biggest game, the most hyped game. So that's gonna be exciting to watch over dinner. But yeah, I have been doing that along with VCT today, and I think the VCT games are done today, so it's just EVO now.
Yeah, like that's super valid. Like about Project L and stuff. Like, I think what makes it hard to follow fighting games sometimes is the fact that if it gets too like cluttered in terms of the UI and all the special effects, and the fact that people have like aerial moves too on top of that, it can be really hard to follow along. That's like why I don't really like games like Marvel vs. Capcom or like Dragon Ball Z. But I think with Project L, it should be. I think that one should be at least easier to follow through. At least from what I've seen so far, like the movement seems really similar to like Guilty Gear, and I've watched some Guilty Gear in the past, and like I think it's pretty easy to follow along with, even though there's still a bunch of shit flying around. But I just like the fact that Riot's really investing a lot of resources into the game. It just looks great visually, and like looking at the combos, it looks like each character has like different play style and certain aspects of them that make them unique from each other. So really interested to see like how big that scene community goes, and seeing like which pro players end up like rising to the top once the game comes out. But for me, I was really more interested in the Tekken games because I've just been super into Tekken recently. So I was watching some of the pools, and I was watching I was watching the entire finals like this morning, and Arslan Ash won, which is like cool, very cool. I just really like it when people, the favorites just win over and over again, because I like the idea of like them cementing their legacy. Like, it's always cool to me to know that like there's these great players that have like won consistently throughout the years. And so when new people come in later down the line, it'll just be like, will they be able to top what this person's accomplished before? Like, new blood versus old blood, which is like, I like those sort of storylines, but it's kind of like what's happened with like Smash recently, like Smash Ultimate. Like beforehand, Zero was like the top dog, but then MKLeo came in and he was really dominant for a while, and now it's more like kind of in the waters. Like everyone in Smash Ultimate, at least, there's not really like a top person right now. Like I feel like everyone's sort of tapered out and like even down to like skill level. So it's gonna be fun just to see like who ends up rising to the top in that game again. But yeah, Tekken is great. They announced like 2 new characters this morning, and one of them is like completely new, and she's like a Peruvian coffee girl. She's like a fighter who's also the face of a coffee brand in Peru, which is like, okay.
That's cool.
Interesting. Yeah. It's the thing about fighting games too is like, I find it interesting when they choose to either bring back an old character or just make an entirely new one from scratch. And so that Peruvian fighter is like a completely new character. But I was really hoping that they were going to bring back some older ones like Kunimitsu, or like one of their Filipino characters. I think her name is like Rosie, and I think she's cool. But yeah, there's still some time until the game comes out, so hopefully they'll release more characters and stuff.
Yeah, I was hoping in Street Fighter 6 that they have you ever played Street Fighter 4? Do you know the one dude that like covers himself in grease? Like yeah. I was so disappointed when they didn't bring him back for 6. That was the one dude I wanted to see. I love that guy.
No, They brought like a bunch of new characters. They brought in Marissa. I think Marissa is like one of my favorite characters in Street Fighter, only because I like her hair. It's like so ridiculous. It's shaped like a helmet, like a Spartan helmet, which is like,
Yeah.
I think that's like such a great design. And she's buff, and we like that here.
I wish they brought back my favorite character for Street Fighter for Crimson Viper or Sea Viper. Yeah, his name's Sea Viper.
Oh, yeah, I know
Yeah,
her.
She's hot. Also, her moves, her skills look really cool on screen. Yeah, too bad.
I hope they bring back Sakura. I feel like Sakura is like a really iconic one.
I think because she's too like close to all these other like Ryuken, that kind of characters. But I will say, watching EVO every year, especially this year though, because it's so hyped and big, I just love fighting games as an esport because, well, one, they're easy to follow and watch because fighting games haven't really changed over the years, where it's just like the 2 health bars at the top, and you can kind of tell what's going on just with the characters on screen. But the thing that I love most about fighting games esports is that if a player loses, it's their fault. If a player wins, it's because they're good. It's not because the other team has a better duelist player, the other team has a better smokes player, the other team's AD carries better. It's not a team thing. It's like individual skill, and I love that. When you play a game and you're not sure if you lost because it was you or your teammate, there is none of that in fucking fighting games, right? If you lost, it's because you suck. So that's what I love about fighting games.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that too. Like, especially with how, turbulent the entire esports scene has been. At least for fighting games, it's like it's returning back to what makes esports as a whole like really great, like community driven, not about the brands, but more so the players. And so with fighting games, I just love how it's a lot more personable. And like when players rise to the top, it's like through their own merit, as you said. And I just love how, it brings together so many people that are passionate about the games, even really obscure ones. Like at EVO, there was some like, tournament set up for like really obscure like anime games like Multi Blood type Lumina. Like I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that game, but it was like featured on the actual like main stage, which is like interesting. I watched like the finals match. It was like a mirror matchup of like this pale muscular dude, but apparently he's like top tier. And I just watched it a bit and I was like, oh wow. Like I didn't realize like, there was like a big community for this game. And so I just think that's what makes me so endeared to FGC's, like the FGC community as a whole. And that's why I just loved watching like so many of the different finals like this weekend, like for Tekken and for DBZ and for like Smash. So yeah, really love FGC, and I hope that this is just a testament to the fact that it deserves to be here and it should continue to grow. But yeah, moving on. I know it's like college season.
Do you hear Brandon's opinion about?
Oh yeah, go ahead,
EVO?
Brandon. Sorry.
Wait, what?
Did you talk about EVO? Yeah.
Did I talk about EVO? Oh, I don't have much to say. I didn't watch too much of it, honestly. Like, I'm not as much into like the fighting games. Like, I don't watch them as much as you guys are. I typically avoid them and just play and watch the games I enjoy more. So, and I'm not big on fighting games. I will say I thought it was weird with Project L. They said they were announcing a new champion. They didn't like specify it was gonna be a new champion for Project L, or maybe I missed that. So I thought it was gonna be like a new one specifically for like Project L, and that was just Yasuo. Yeah, so I was like, what the heck? I was like, oh shit, like that's gonna be cool.
I mean, I was expecting it.
But
I was expecting it. I'm like, there's no shot they're not gonna add Yasuo to this game. When they showed the Ionia stage, I'm like, Yasuo's coming. I know it. Oh,
Yasuo or Irelia, right? Like,
yeah. Honestly, I would have been so hyped if we got Irelia though. Like, I feel like her moveset would be so good. She would just have like really. I feel like she would be the Cammy of that game. Honestly,
she has really good features. Yeah.
She's like just she's fast. She like moves around a lot. Like she'd have like the blades tied in there somewhere. Like. I'm shivering just thinking about it. I mean, I was hoping for Vi to come. Like, I feel like Vi makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Oh, Lee Sin.
Lee Sin. Oh, yeah, Lee Sin, too. And, like, Akali. Basically, all the martial artists get them in there. Like, I don't see why not.
Yeah, and then you need like buff muscular men like Braum. Like, where is he there?
True.
Wasn't he in, like, one of the trailers? I thought he was, but maybe not.
You're probably thinking about, like, one of their other indie games, like
the Rune King.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Ooh, Blitzcrank would be cool. Honestly, I feel like all the league champions would fit right in, except maybe the mages. Mages probably like suspect. Like, can you imagine Lux in there? Like, what would Lux do? I feel no, I think Lux would fit in. I mean, she would be like a really stally kind of character. She would just be like, oh, hit you with my bind, hit you with my shield and stuff, throw my baton at you,
Make full use of the
stun
time.
you or something. I don't fucking know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that'll
Yeah,
work.
she's a stall gamer.
I don't think that'll work. But who knows?
I mean, Lysandra might work, and LeBlanc might work. Definitely Katarina should be in there.
Yeah.
Garen. I'm just thinking through.
You could just go down.
Basically,
the list
anyone
and,
who's ranged.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everyone could pretty much fit in there. I mean, they got Jinx in there. I don't know why she wasn't like included in any of the EVO promotions. Did they just forget about her? They're like, she's too technical. We can't feature her in the playtest just yet. But yeah. Okay. Well, moving on from esports stuff, I know that this month is when a lot of colleges across the US should be starting again soon. And so we're sort of, two of us are post college and one of us is wrapping up college. So I thought it'd be cool if maybe we sat down and like shared our sort of personal success tips on like how these college students who are going back to school can like make the most out of their time in college, or maybe even like, steer their goals, or like, act with intention basically to make sure that they're making the most out of the time that they have in college. So I want to actually pose this question to you first, Brandon, because you're still in the thick of it. Are there any things that you do that really help you like do good at like studying, or going towards your goals of like graduating and stuff?
Well, first things first. A 2.0 is passing. That's the most important thing, right? Like, you can have a great GPA, but really, the thing that matters the most is 2.0 is just you pass the class, But as far as like taking notes and all that, I actually recently started to do this, and I feel like it helped a lot more. Is actually using different colors. Like when you're taking notes, when you just have a black page, it all kind of blends in together. But if you can use like, if there's a definition you really need to remember, you can use a color for that, and different color for like if you need like a table, draw a table or something, and it kind of makes everything stand out, and it kind of makes it easier to memorize, easier to locate if you need it, or I don't know. I just feel like it makes everything easier. But
yeah, no, I definitely feel that. Like for me, when I was back in college, like I didn't really have a special setup, like multiple stationery or anything like that, but I did have like two highlight pens, and so I would just basically like use them sort of alternatively. Like I would use the pink one for like really basic stuff that I thought was like good to keep track of, like concepts, and then for like the yellow one, I would actually like highlight like, oh, this is definitely going to be on the test. I should like really go back and like study this later. So it's cool that you're also doing something similar.
Yeah, it's hard to do that because at least in my experience, most of you don't get like physical books anymore. It's pretty much all online. I think you have the option to do that, but it's probably more expensive to do it that way. And plus, some of these classes, the homework's like tied to the book online, so you kind of have to do it that way. But I'm not sure if you bought the physical book, you might like get a code to the online book too. But I don't know, it's just weird. It makes no sense. Like they'll sell you the book with no binding, and it'll still somehow be like $250, even though they didn't even put binding on the book.
Yeah.
Like, but
yeah,
when it's online, you can't highlight your screen unfortunately and like keep it marked, so
yeah,
just stick with the notebook.
Yeah, definitely had. Yeah, that's something that I kind of struggled with too, because I feel like for me personally, I really enjoy having the physical version of things, like whether it be books or textbooks and stuff, just because I'm so like a visual person that sort of having the textbook on my my desk, it gives me an idea of like, hey, like I'm thinking about the textbook right now, and I remember that this information was on this page and stuff that I bookmarked. But with a lot of different textbooks becoming a lot more virtual, it's great that, in some cases it might be cheaper, but it's like it takes away that sort of, tangible like learning that you can get from like reading it from a physical book, which, I mean, people have different learning styles and stuff, so maybe people would prefer, or it doesn't really matter to certain people, but I know at least for me, like I just really like having the opportunity to like, manually highlight things in a passage, or like, writing notes on the side. Like that stuff really helps me learn. So I'm kind of curious if that was like a similar experience for you, Brandon.
Um, it, I typically try to, but I've always like writing it out makes it a lot easier. Like writing it in my own words, and because they when they write stuff, they kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. They inflate it. Like they use way too much words to describe everything, and I like always simplify my notes to like make it easier for me to understand, because the way they describe it is not necessarily the way you need to learn it, I feel. And you can like can get like test questions right if you just simplify it. So like it means the same thing. It's just a much simpler way of saying it, I guess, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Do you have like any other like study tips that you usually do, or are you more of like a, oh, the test is in the 2 days, I'll study it around that time, like right
Um,
before, basically?
um, I mean, if I really want to go over it, I just try to do like, like 30 minutes at a time, then take like a half hour break, or just take a long break and then go back to it, instead of just sticking my head in for a long time and trying to keep going at it. Just do a short amount, take a break, take a long break, and then go back to it, take another long break. And I find that makes it a lot easier to focus just for a short amount of time, and it's more productive than just digging your head in, trying to absorb it all at once, and then doing whatever after.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Like that's a good point that you bring up too. Like definitely don't try and cram in so much information all at once. I know sometimes it's easy to do that, especially if it's like, last minute or like the day before. But it's really just stressful on like the mind, and like you're more likely than not to not even remember all of it if you don't take good enough breaks in between. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
good advice there, Brandon.
there's even like there's some Twitch, like I've seen Twitch streamers where they'll sit there and they'll study for a half hour, then like have a 15-minute timer, like take their 15-minute break, and then there's just like 100 people watching the stream, and I'll just like study for a half hour, take a 15-minute break together, and then back to the grind for a half hour.
Pomodoro method.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
fucking tomato.
But
Cool.
yeah.
How about you, Kevin? Do you have any success tips that helped you get through college?
I am not going to speak on study tips or like how to pass an exam. I feel like whatever I say, even if someone listens, they're not going to do it, right? You can procrastinate. You can do this researched way of studying where it's like every day you study a little, or when you're studying you alternate subjects, so it really like enforces that in your brain. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. You're not going to listen to me anyway, right? So
The cold hard truth. Oh
yeah,
my.
you're going to procrastinate if you're going to procrastinate. That's just how people are. But anyway, my advice for people, and this is probably advice that's been like repeated over and over, is just to get out of your shell, meet people. I think that college is a time for learning about yourself, not just studying and how you learn, but just what kind of person you are, if you're introverted or extroverted, and just how you work with other people. And I think it's important to not forget the overarching goal of going to college. It's to get a job. For most people, at least, it's to get a job. So kind of learn how or what things are most important to getting a job while you're in college. And for most people, it's like internships, it's networking, meeting people. So what's the best way to do that? Probably joining clubs, talking to your professors, etc. So just kind of remember that overarching goal of getting a job. Just keep that in the back of your mind. And then I'm not saying meet people for the sake of like getting a job. I'm just saying just meet people, and they'll just kind of broaden your horizons to like the possibilities out there when it comes to just professional things and also personal things. You'll just learn about yourself, just in every way, every aspect. So just try to meet as many people as possible. And I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys. We don't even know each other if I didn't go to a club. So
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Speaking from experience, and experience is always great. But yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying there. Like, in terms of just college tips and stuff, like meeting people is really important, and the connections that you make now will, last as long as you invest in them. And I think I've made a lot of great relationships in college, and I'm still talking to a lot of people from that time as well, and they've always been like my biggest champions, and always helping me when I'm feeling a little bit like unsure of myself as well. So it's just nice, investing in yourself and really breaking out of your shell to make those connections and stuff. And it's really important too. I think for me, like when I was in college, I definitely didn't build out my professional network as much as I would have liked to. I mean, I didn't make my LinkedIn until like my senior year. But after graduating college, like I took it upon myself to actually like reach out to more people. So I ended up like talking to a bunch of like different like marketing like managers and like marketing executives, and they gave me a lot of great useful like advice on like how to end up in positions like them, like what skills I should learn, or like what I should like be working on like my current job. So it's just nice, people in my experience are always willing to help out those who are really earnestly interested in bettering themselves and like reaching their personal or career goals. So I think when it comes to networking, always just make sure that you're coming through it from a very like thoughtful way, and not just being like, hey, I'm talking to you, give me a job now, right? It should be more like natural and like less transactional, is what I would say.
I want to add that one of the most important things I've learned, just work and in life in general, is that there are dumb questions, even when people say there aren't any dumb questions.
Yeah.
And learning how to ask a question in a really nice, considerate way, polite way, and a concise way, so that you're not writing a paragraph and you're not wasting people's time, is a really good skill to have. It's probably the most important skill I have. Just knowing how to ask the right question. If I need help on something, I need to know how to ask it without sounding rude, or like without making it sound too long,
Can I please get help?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's also a great point too. Like, I would say don't be afraid to ask for help at all. I think for like new college grads, especially, like it may seem like you want to prove yourself to like your company, and so you may try to work on stuff on your own, even though you might have like some stuff about it that confuses you. And I would say just make sure that you're always like looking towards the support of your team, and like asking questions, be really stuck, because what's worse about not clarifying with them is just like you're doing it wrong, and you're just like, oh, I should have asked them beforehand. So I would say just working on, as you were saying, like asking questions and how to do it politely, and really getting to the point of what you need help with is like really important in school and in work too.
But there are dumb questions. If you can figure out something out on your own, if you can find the answer on your own, find the answer on your own.
Yeah. Think to yourself, is this a Google question?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm sorry, manager, when's lunchtime? Oh, it's 12 o'clock p.m. Okay.
Not in the morning.
But yeah, I mean, not in the morning. Right when I get there at 8 o'clock, she's like, yeah, lunchtime. But yeah, that's all the questions that I had for today. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about before we head out for tonight?
No, I just want to say that next week is our premier playoff tournament. So I was thinking about skipping our podcast next week.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Just focus on premier. How about you, Brandon?
No, nothing else to add. We're gonna win the premier tournament. Don't anybody worry.
We do need to find a fifth player, because Dissonance or Matt is not going to be there. So I do have to find someone who's like Plat 3 to Diamond 2 like Matt is. So
okay.
To replace him.
Okay. I would have suggested Renee, but he doesn't play ranked, and I don't know if he'd be that high enough. So
yeah, they have to be that rank, or I wouldn't be able to even invite them to the team. So.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of Plat diamond players and servers, like the guy that you recruited first time?
Yeah, I'm looking, but it seems like there are not. So.
Oh
shit!
goodness.
Or at least there are, but they aren't looking for premier teams. They're probably already playing. Who knows? But I'll keep looking throughout the week. We'll see.
Wait! What if we got like Renee or like how to play on Matt's account? That works, right? That works.
That would work.
Riot, don't
Whether
listen.
or not we'll do well.
No, don't worry. Renee is pretty good. The few times that I've played Valorant with him, he used to play Chamber a lot, so
okay,
he's probably not gonna play.
Yeah,
we can think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, even though you don't have a podcast episode next week, they'll probably be able to see our premiere games because Brandon usually records it and posts it on the channel. So you guys will be able to see whether or not we make it through to the very end. Last time we got really close, got second place. So we're hoping that this time we get first. I know we got it in us. We got this.
Yeah, we got it in us.
We got that dog in us.
I'll make sure it happens. Don't worry.
Yeah, Brandon's got us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brandon's got us.
So Kevin, we're getting some practice.
That's all from.
Yeah, we're playing Baldur's Gate all week.
Yeah. I heard Baldur's Gate really helps that FPS skill, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's all I had for y'all today, and really enjoyed speaking with you, and hope everyone watching enjoys this episode, and we'll see you in 2 weeks with the next one. So anyways, hope you all have a good rest of your day.
slAyMA.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
Bye.